Alright, so this is the post-Mania Raw. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to ramble about, debate. There's a lot that people have a lot of strong opinions on, but you guys have been with me coming up on 6 years now, coming up on 601 subscribers. It's been a long time. You guys, the loyals, know me pretty damn well. So you know, heart to heart, me to you, if you look at the most honest perception of the entire situation, you know I'm going to brag about The Miz tonight, right? Five-time Intercontinental Champion The Miz. Woo, woo, woo. You know it. What's going on, everybody? It's Buddy. It's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and I'll start right off the bat with telling you guys I don't know how long this video is actually going to be. My voice is shot, busy weekend, all that sort of thing, but mostly one of the reasons I took last week off was A, give myself some time off leading into WrestleMania, B, I've been trying to fight off some cold, some sickness, whatever, that has really been doing a number on my throat. I sound like, I think I sound like a robot, so tell me if I don't, because that'll make me feel a lot better. I was supposed to do an NXT review with Kristen the Black Hat Feline over on the Wrestle Recap channel. That will happen sometime later this week, but my weekend was not without its fun. I did watch NXT TakeOver, which was amazing. Good night to be Japanese if you're in NXT. Did watch the Hall of Fame. Didn't watch the Hall of Fame live. Went out, saw the Batman vs. Superman movie. Despite what all the critics are bullshitting, go see the movie. It's pretty fucking good. I liked it. Came back, watched the Hall of Fame at about 3 in the morning. That was good. Whenever I wasn't watching WWE or watching the Batman movie, I was watching Daredevil, which is another thing I will suggest to you guys. If you're not checking it out just yet, go check it out. If you got Netflix, or, I mean, you guys illegally stream pay-per-views, I'm sure you could illegally stream Daredevil. And then I did, in fact, watch all 7 hours of WrestleMania. A lot of new champions over the course of this weekend. American Alpha are the new tag champs over in NXT. Asuka, the new women's champion over there. The new Intercontinental Champion was Zack Ryder. Tag titles weren't on the line at WrestleMania. The new women's champion is Charlotte, and of course Roman Reigns. You know, the world is going to come to an end because Roman Reigns won the main event, and Roddy Raw will go as it goes. Shane McMahon's a crazy person who came off the cell, and that was great. And I will say, in the most friendly way possible, big FU to Matt from In the Rope Show, OK Fabe, and Heel Steven, who not only were at all of these things, but were all over social media, taunting the rest of us with it. And of course, I'm kidding. Shout out to all those guys. You should check out all those guys. If you haven't, check out OK Fabe, check out Heel Steven, check out Matt from In the Rope Show. They all do great shit. Happy for those guys. Looks like they had a blast. It is what it is. Big full weekend, and the fourth quarter of WrestleMania weekend is the Monday Night Raw after Mania, where it's always, and they even say it at the beginning of the night, because I'm pretty sure that they didn't know what the crowd was going to do. So they had the announcers at the beginning of the night, hey, keep in mind, guys, this is a raucous crowd. This is the WrestleMania crowd. They're going to boo people that we should be cheering for. They hit that a little too hard tonight, I'm not going to lie. Started off, as they usually do, with a big music video highlight package of WrestleMania, which is nice. You guys know, at the best of times, I'm not a pop music fan. You guys know. Know I listen to a lot of rock, a lot of Hailstorm specifically. Hailstorm, one of the themes for TakeOver Dallas, which put a big grin on my face, not only when Guapo from the Wrestle Recap Show messaged me and said, hey man, you're going to have to choose a different song for your videos, but when several people on Twitter were saying things like NXT stole Spaz's music, made me pop huge. That's the kind of thing that people that have been watching this channel for a long time just pop up in social media and make me smile. You guys are great. I don't thank you guys enough, and that's pretty cool. But I will say, as much as I am a rock fan, and I think rock and wrestling go together, like they did back in the day with rock and wrestling, the song My House by, I think it's Flo Rida, if I'm not mistaken, is ridiculously addictive. The beat of that song, we've been hearing it for 3 months in all the ads for WrestleMania, but it is ridiculously addictive in its beat and its catchiness, which is fine, and the music video highlight package tonight proved that. Then we see Vince, and not only does Vince come out, he kind of gets a cool pop, and the crowd sings No Chance in Hell, which is nice. Vince comes out, he brags about the WrestleMania records that he's broken, brags about Shane's loss, mocks the crowd for the new champion Roman Reigns, talks about Shane's his grandkids, watching Shane lose at WrestleMania, talks about the cage dive spot, in amongst a big Shane O'Mac chant, which then turned into a better than Roman chant, which is fucking great. Calls them a nutty crowd, tells them to enjoy the show, says, I'm sure this is a show you'll never forget. Shane interrupts him. Huge Shane O'Mac chants. Thank you, Shane chants. You still got it chants. He thanks the crowd. He says to Vince, look, I'm not out here to steal your thunder. I'm out here because I'm the only guy, I'm the only man in our family, and I will come out here and shake your hand. I lost, you won. Goes to thank you and say goodbye. Huge response from the crowd. Shane's face looks like the proverbial pack of hamburger, doesn't it? But Vince does a weird thing here, because as Shane's leaving, he accuses Shane of trying to upstage him. I'm not quite sure how that works. I'm also not quite sure why my screen looks very dark right now. So all my lights are on, so if the video's dark, I'm sorry, I can't be bothered to change it. I've been saying for weeks how ridiculous it would be with you running Raw and all of us out of the picture. The crowd responds immediately with a "let him run it" chant, which is cool, and Vince just yells in Shane's face, "Let's see what you got," which looks like a challenge to fight, but the announcers sort of help it along, saying no, Vince is leaving Raw. Vince is leaving Shane in charge of Raw, sorry. Again, I'm going to say this more than once, but if I sound like crap, I'm really sorry, and thanks for putting up with it. New Day versus the League of Nations in a Tag Team Championship match is the first of a couple times tonight where we're getting on Raw what we should have got at WrestleMania. WrestleMania, at the last minute, they turned into a 3-on-3 instead of a 4-on-3, which was strange, and it wasn't for the titles, but where was I? Lost my place, because that's what I do. New Day tonight being represented by Kofi and Big E, as they usually are. League of Nations tonight being represented by Barrett and Sheamus, which is cool, because if you look at the League of Nations, you see Barrett and Sheamus, who on their own could be a decent brawling tag team, and Alberto Del Rio and Rusev, who I would never have paired together, because they look like sort of an odd couple tag team, but we've seen that iteration of the League of Nations work as a team, and they're also really good. So, you know, it is what it is. Sheamus and Kofi start and collar and elbow tie up in the corner, elbow in the head by Sheamus, and a boot and a drop kick by Kofi, who tosses Sheamus out of the ring. Assisted suicide seated senton by Kofi Kingston onto Sheamus. Try saying that 3 times fast. Assisted suicide seated senton on Sheamus by Kofi. So try it right now. I'm gonna pause. Take your 5 minutes right now. 5 seconds, sorry. Try to say it. You can't, especially, as I've said before, if you're trying to read my writing. What the fuck does that? Barrett drives Kofi's back into the apron and then into the rail, sort of that pillar to post thing, hits him with a boot. Barrett clotheslines Kofi Kingston out of the ring again. Commercial break. Come back from the commercial break, and Sheamus is riding a headlock because he's a good bad guy. Gutbuster and some boots, a double knee press by Kofi, which is pretty and not the only time we're going to see it tonight. Belly to belly by Big E on Wade Barrett 3 times, followed up by a splash. Boot by Barrett. Barrett runs into Sheamus by accident. Double team big ending by the New Day. Get the win, and they win, or they retain their tag team championships, which, I'm sorry guys, in this match we're never really in any doubt. They celebrate, they leave. Sheamus grabs the mic, talks about how they're the greatest faction in the world, which is a very funny thing to say every time. They only have a promo like this talking about how great they are after they've lost a match. But then he says, unfortunately, we're only as strong as our weakest link, and we all now know who the weakest link is. 3-on-1 beatdown by Sheamus, Rusev, and Alberto Del Rio on Wade Barrett. So I'm guessing that was his excommunication from the company. All the rumors and speculation and dirt sheet nonsense about Barrett not renewing his contract, I guess tonight was his last night. I guess that kind of makes sense. The Wyatts come out, however. In the middle of that beatdown, you know, lights off, lights on, jump scare, the Wyatts beat the ever-loving shit out of the remaining 3 League of Nations members. So Wyatts are de facto babyfaces in this, because not only are the League of Nations heels, not only does the crowd not like them in general, but they just turned on one of their own guys. So they're like super, super, super heel. It's heelception on the League of Nations side. So the Wyatts are the de facto babyfaces in this scenario, and they kick the ever-loving shit out of the League of Nations, which I think is great, because not only does it make the League of Nations look weak and make the Wyatts look strong, it makes the League of Nations look dumb, because hey, if you hadn't kicked that one guy out of your group, you could have still had the 4-on-3 advantage. Also, it sucks because maybe they wouldn't have had to kick the shit out of Wade Barrett, and this could have been a 4-on-4 brawl if Luke Harper wasn't injured. You know, all due respect and speedy recovery to Luke Harper. I hope he comes back soon. The rumors that Bray Wyatt was also injured, I'm guessing, were exaggerated, because he was not only participating tonight, but participated in that segment with The Rock at WrestleMania, which only served to bring back John Cena and just kind of makes me cry a little. Vince is seen in the back leaving because tonight's going to be a disaster and he doesn't even want to be around to see it. Summer Rae versus Sasha is a 2-minute match. Summer comes out and talks about how her team lost, but they wouldn't have lost if I was in charge, but at least she didn't go out on her face like Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks ruined her WrestleMania chance, and it's like, yeah, but she really didn't. Like, at all. She came out as one of the promoted main events of WrestleMania, came out with her cousin, Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg, rapping her to the ring in one of the most prestigious, not only one of the most prestigious matches of the night, but when they announced that the Divas title was going to be now the Women's Championship and they brought back the new belt and all that. That match, you could lose that match and still be a superstar. I mean, people love Sasha Banks, so it is what it is. Slap by Sasha, Hangman and a super kick by Summer, seated Cobra Clutch by Summer, corner spears by Sasha, and the double knee press, again, much like Kofi Kingston in the previous match. Banks' statement sort of happens in two halves, because she does the backbreaker bit, and Summer kind of pushes her off, and then she kind of wiggles back into the submission portion of the move. So I guess it was a broken Banks statement, but it was still very effective. Sasha Banks is still a fucking smoke show. I'm not going to cast any shade on her. Summer Rae, I know I don't have very much to back me up when I say I hope they do better things with her, but I really do hope they do better things with her somewhere along the way. We get a promo for NXT that says, if you're not watching NXT, you haven't seen Apollo Crews, wait until you see what's happening next. And we do, in fact, get the in-ring Raw debut of Apollo Crews, which is cool until you find out that his opponent is Tyler Breeze. Now, nothing against Tyler Breeze, but when somebody comes up to the main roster, you want to see them fight somebody new. That's the curiosity. What are they going to do when they get here? When this was a match that we saw more than once on NXT, I would have had, we're going to talk about another debut later on down the line, which proves my point. I would have had him go up against Luke Harper, if Luke Harper wasn't injured, going back to that. But it is what it is. Collar and elbow tie, and a side headlock by Crews, a press slam and a power slam by Crews, shoulder by Crews, super kick by Breeze and some forearms and a backdrop by Breeze and a crossface. Tyler Breeze, for as small as he is, should not have this much offense in this match. But it's cool, because they've been burying Tyler Breeze, and if they want to let him look at least somewhat relevant, I'm always going to be okay with that. But we get the Apollo Crews 5 moves of doom, the spin kick, the gorilla press, the standing moonsault, the spinning powerbomb, and Crews gets the win. The toss powerbomb that Apollo Crews does is a thing of beauty, isn't it? Now, I don't know whether the NXT presence on tonight's show means that everybody that was on this show tonight is now on the main roster, or whether they're just, they know that NXT is popular and everybody's there because of WrestleMania weekend. I'm not sure. I hope it means that, but at the same time, I hope you'll see what my point when I get to the end of the night. If everybody that was on this show tonight is now on the main roster, oh wow, is NXT a little depleted. We have Roman Reigns come out to talk about winning the world title, and he gets booed to hell. And it's kind of funny because this is the first time I actually noticed, talking about who I was talking about a second ago, OK Fabe and Matt from In the Rope Show and Heel Steven. The first time I saw their signs was as Roman Reigns was coming out for this segment. So it is what it is. Excuse me. And he plays up on the hate, too. It's really fucking great. You know, the first words out of his mouth, "Oh, come on, guys, I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a bad guy or a good guy. I'm just the guy. Does anybody want a piece?" So it's kind of like he's being a babyface, he's being an arrogant babyface, but in interspersed in what he's saying, he's kind of like a fuck you to the crowd as well. So it's kind of interesting. Who answers, if you want to match Roman Reigns' arrogance, you got to go with somebody that's even more arrogant. So we get a response from Chris Jericho. Tells everybody to shut up and listen to him. He says, "You're not the guy, you're just a guy, you're just another idiot. Nobody who comes and goes from this place is better than me. I beat the indie darling AJ Styles last night, and you will. This is not a request. This is not a suggestion or an idea. I demand you put me at the head of the line and you give me a shot at the WWE World Heavyweight Championship." Interrupted by Styles, who gets a decent pop. Interrupted by Kevin Owens, who literally, and this is why I love Kevin Owens, as much as he's an arrogant prick, he sells like a motherfucker. So he literally drags himself like he's got one dead leg to the ring to join the fray, and then Sami Zayn comes in after that, and the crowd just goes fucking nuts. But as soon as all four of those guys are in the ring, they all go for their respective opponents. Styles and Jericho go at it. Owens and Zayn go at it. And this is what I love, because this is realistic. If you've got four people that are coming after your title, and suddenly they ignore you and start fighting each other, you are going to laugh. And that's what Roman does. He sits there and laughs at all of them while they take out each other, and none of them are focusing on him, which is fucking great. Owens and Zayn battle to the outside. Jericho hits a codebreaker on Styles. Jericho is left bragging in the ring, turns around, he eats a spear. He's the only one that takes any offense from the new WWE champion, is Jericho, because all the rest of the talents are trying to get over, so Jericho eats the spear, obviously. You know Roman Reigns is going to go out of this segment with a victorious action of some kind. So you're not going to spear AJ because the crowd is going to hate it. You're not going to spear Zayn because the crowd's going to hate it. You're not going to spear Owens because the crowd's going to hate it. But we can spear Jericho because it won't hurt him, and they can just get away with it. Here you go, WWE. Here's a hashtag for you. Jericho Lives Matter. Just saying. Everybody fights. Spear to Jericho as we end the segment. Roman Reigns raises his hand and his music hits because he's the champion, and fuck everybody. Shane McMahon, after the commercial break, is seen in the back saying that there's going to be a #1 Contenders Fatal 4-Way tonight with, surprise, 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 Styles, Jericho, Owens, and Zayn, which is fucking great. We show recap footage from the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which of course was won by Baron Corbin, and then we see the statue beside the commentary table, and I'm thinking, okay, so they're going to do something with Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin comes out. He cuts a promo. It's realistically not that good. Baron Corbin is one of those guys that can be the silent dominant type. I'm not going to sit here arrogantly and compare him to somebody like Goldberg, but that type of idea. Baron Corbin constantly getting better in the ring. Not the greatest guy on the mic. His debut match, you want to make a big destructive force look great. Who do you put him against? You put him up against the WWE's resident ragdoll, Dolph Ziggler. And that's what it is. Corner beat down by Dolph to start a dropkick. Big elbow and a knockdown by Corbin. Corbin punches Ziggler off the apron as we go to commercial break. Corbin, I want to say Corbin's a bad guy, so he rides a headlock, but he doesn't. He rides a nerve hold. And the nerve hold, let's be real for a second. The nerve hold is kind of a weird thing, because basically what he's doing is he's grabbing your shoulder like this, and that's not meant to hurt, right? But the way that he did it, I can't explain it. I can't even pretend that I can put it into words. The way he did it on the show tonight looked effective. Ziggler turns into the nerve hold, turns it into a jawjacker, and gets an elbow. Corbin eats the post shoulder first, corner splash twice, and a modified DDT by Ziggler. Famouser by Ziggler. Deep six by Corbin, which is another nice move. Both men trade punches on the outside. Boot by Corbin. Corbin tosses Ziggler into a tech area in the crowd, and the match gets tossed out by the referee. He looks up at the referee, says, "Okay, you're going to toss out the ref. You're going to toss out the match. This is your fault." Hits the fucking end of days on the floor on Ziggler. It's just, if this is their debuting of Baron Corbin permanently to the main roster, I'm 100% on board. We see a video package of the Ambrose-Lesnar match from last night, which means I think we're either going to get a promo from Heyman or from Ambrose or from Lesnar, and we don't. We get Zack Ryder instead, and my night just gets better and better and better. Zack Ryder comes out, full-on babyface underdog speech. I want to thank all the people that believed in me. When I was a kid, I sat and posed with Razor Ramon, and he let me hold his IC title. Now, last night after the WrestleMania, I went to see Scott Hall in the back and took another picture, and he got to hold my IC title. takes a minute to thank his dad. I never watched Z True Long Island Story, but apparently his dad is on Z True Long Island Story a lot. Miz comes out, mocks him, mocks his celebratory moment, mocks his, underdog story, and talks about his goofball dad and Roddy Raw. Basically boasts him into an IC title match, which is great and makes me smile. Collar and elbow tie up and shoulder by the Miz, drop kick by Ryder and the double knees, which is good, boot by the Miz, and a top rope head scissor by Ryder, which is impressive because you don't see him necessarily doing like cruiserweight or luchador type moves. Both men trade punches, Miz tosses Ryder out, mounted punches by the Miz and a surfboard stretch, facebuster by Ryder, clothesline from the knees, DDT by the Miz, neckbreaker by Ryder, and a savage elbow, boot by the Miz, and he drives Ryder into the apron and then into the rail, like we saw in the previous match. The whole pillar to post effect. Miz gets distracted by Ryder's dad on the outside. And I think, okay, this is going to be the thing. He's going to piss off Ryder's dad. He's going to get distracted by that. Ryder's going to defend his dad's honor and keep the belt. But it's cool because not only is he distracted by Ryder's dad, Maurice, of all people, pops out of the crowd, bitch slaps the hell out of Mr. Ryder. That distracts Ryder. Skull fucking finale. And Miz is your new five-time Intercontinental Champion, and he's got Maurice on his arm. He's got a belt on his arm. It's a good night to be the Miz. Oh, and fuck yes. And if you think that Miz doesn't deserve this, I got that for you. I got that. Miz, who jobs out and makes himself look like a goofball at the expense of everybody, makes everybody else look good at the expense of making himself look like a goofball constantly throughout the year. He's that guy that's great at getting under everybody. He's the smarmy guy that as soon as he's been talking for 2 minutes on the mic, you want to see him get his ass kicked. And he does. And he makes everybody else look good. Everybody. Anybody that's ever been on Miz TV, Miz has made look good at his own expense. And he's good in that role. But if you think the guy doesn't deserve a win every now and then, you can fuck off. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that Miz is the greatest technical in-ring competitor ever. You're not going to get Benoit Angle matches out of the Miz, but the Miz deserves a moment. If you want to say, okay, we're happy for Ryder last night at Mania, he got his moment. You want to say that? I said that. I said good for Ryder. He got his moment. The guy's been busting his ass in the company for a long ass time. But if you want to make an argument like that for Ryder, you have to make an argument like that for the Miz. And I'm sorry, going forward as a heel with the champion for a babyface to chase, there's a lot more stock in the Miz. And if you don't like that, sucks to be you. Awesome for us. We get another video package from NXT that says the Vaudevillains are debuting on SmackDown. So, unlucky to them, they're getting the Tyler Breeze treatment. Good stuff. Lita is out with the entire women's roster, puts over the entire women's roster how proud she is of them, how she didn't really have anybody to look up to when she was younger because there wasn't really a Divas division to be proud of. But now there is one. Roddy is sort of a breaking the fourth wall. Everybody's in it together. Look what we've all done together type thing. Introduces Charlotte. And let me tell you that this crowd in Dallas, much like myself, do not give a shit what Charlotte has to say. At all. Bailey chants, which turned into that singing the Bailey chant, the whole hey Bailey, ooh, ah. They do that thing. There's a women's wrestling chant, and then when it's a women's wrestling chant, Charlotte says, yeah, we did that, that's all of us. So it's like, then the crowd's just like, no, it's not all of you. And then they start chanting for Sasha, which is great. Kisses up to her daddy, mocks the rest of the roster, says to Sasha and Becky, hey, girls, look, we did this. I mean, I did this, but we did it, and just mocks them. The entire roster leaves, so she can't have her moment, and she screams at them like they're being disrespectful, and Ric Flair's there freaking out. Natty tells her off, and talks about, how she has no respect and Roddy Raw. And Charlotte says what a generic heel with no actual promo skills would say, and that's that I have the belt, which means I'm good. And then she throws in the family shit. This belt proves that my family's better than your family. And it's like, okay, that's a stretch. She gets locked in the sharpshooter for her troubles, and Daddy has to save her once again. Please, take one or the other away from Charlotte. Either take the belt off her and put it on somebody else, or put Ric Flair back in the cupboard. One or the other. Take away Ric Flair, let her keep the belt, let her show how much character she doesn't have without her dad there, then take the belt off her. I'll be a happy kid. There's a weird sort of tourism come to Puerto Rico ad, or pretend ad, that basically the whole point, I think, is Primo and Epico are coming back as Primo and Epico, and they're going to be bad guys because, like, we're here in Puerto Rico and it's beautiful here, unlike where all you are. So I think it's going to be another one of those, you know, we're good because of where we're from things. But if we're going to get Primo and Epico back as Primo and Epico, it's all good. Usos versus Dudleys in a tables match, which is another thing that we should have had at WrestleMania. Let's be real. I did not bother writing down all the stuff that happened in this match, but lots and lots of brawling. There was a was up at some point, obviously. Several table attempts. The crowd chants for Enzo. The crowd chants for Cass. The crowd chants for Nakamura. The crowd chant for American Alpha. But when they're chanting for Gable, Michael Cole does his best to convince you that they're chanting for tables, which is just funny. The Usos do the Jeff Hardy style run the rail, which gets a very brief Hardy chant, which makes me smile. The Usos put themselves through the tables, and everybody fucks up, including the announcer, and say that that makes them win the match. Bubba gets pissed, grabs one of the Usos, throws them through another table, yells at the ring announcer and the timekeeper and the announcers that says, "No! Get to know your job. Now we've won the match," which is fucking great. The false finish was just stupid and weird and whatever. We go backstage where Renee Young, who's fucking gorgeous as usual, is interviewing Sami Zayn. He's interrupted by Kevin Owens, who beats him up, throws him into a couple of electrical cases, and puts him through a table. Right after we saw the tables match, which just makes me laugh. When we come back from that commercial break, the Dudleys are still on the rampway. They are taking the slowest walk up the ramp in history because they are cut off by Enzo and Cass, who are debuting tonight on the main roster, who come into the ring and cut a promo on the Dudleys, which is just, I could tell you the stuff that they said. They did the whole opening bit, you know, Enzo Amore, the certified G, the bona fide stud. You know, you couldn't ask for a better reception than these guys had when what's his name? Enzo says he's shit talker Skywalker and he's got a mic saber for all the haters, and he just goes on ripping on the Dudleys. They get close to the ring a couple times and then they walk off. But if their debut on the main roster is going to be a program, Enzo and Cass versus the Dudleys, you can't really ask for if you're a tag team, you can't really ask for a better introduction to the company, can you? We replay, which is funny because we've already seen the Wyatts tonight. We replay the Rock, Wyatts, and Cena segment from WrestleMania that was, as I say, we took the Wyatts and the Rock just to announce that Cena's back, which is nice. Ryder versus The Miz is happening on SmackDown, and if you look at the graphic, Maurice is definitely in The Miz's corner in the graphic. So Maurice is back on the WWE roster, which is fucking fantastic. And for reasons I cannot fully understand, Dr. Phil is going to be on Raw next week. For reasons. We get to the main event, and I'm sorry guys, I know I sound like shit. I would love to be more exuberant than I am right now, but it literally hurts to talk. And again, I will say, if you've stuck with this video this long, I really do thank you, because it probably isn't the most enjoyable one in the world. Styles, Owens, and Jericho all make their way out to the ring. Sami Zayn's been taken out. They get a note or a message or something to the announcer who says Sami Zayn cannot compete tonight, but Shane McMahon has found a suitable opponent. For a brief moment, I thought one of two things. Either, you know, Cena returned in time to have this fatal four-way and go up against go up against Roman at Payback, or the rumors about Seth Rollins coming back were true, and that Seth Rollins would be the fourth person. Either way, you knew. If Cena was the surprise guy, he would win. If Rollins was the surprise guy, he'd definitely win. But the surprise guy is the one guy that I had totally let fall out the back of my head, which was Cesaro. And I think, okay, foregone conclusion, Cesaro's going to go, he's been away forever, and he's going to immediately come back, and he's going to go and he's going to face Roman Reigns at Payback. Now, little side note, what the fuck happened to Extreme Rules? I'm just putting that one out there. But Styles, Owens, Jericho, Cesaro is your main event for the number one contendership. Jericho and Styles have a chop battle to start, and Cesaro and Owens brawl. Jericho hits a second rope dropkick on Owens, dropkick from Styles to Cesaro, backbreaker for two, Styles from Cesaro as we go to commercial break. Stalling suplex from Jericho to Styles, who chokes him on the ropes, trade chops in the corner, and a dropkick by Jericho. Tower of Doom suplex powerbomb spot by Cesaro. Now what I mean by that is AJ Styles is on the turnbuckle, and Jericho and Owens try to double suplex him off from the second rope. Cesaro gets underneath all of them, turns it into a giant, massive 4-person powerbomb, which does look good, and doesn't try to pin any of them for reasons. A cannonball by Owens to Jericho, a spin kick from Owens to Owens by Styles, toss uppercut by Cesaro to Styles, uppercuts in the corner on Jericho by Cesaro, package side slam to Jericho by Owens. When it's not the package pile driver, the crowd boos, but you know that's not going to happen, so you know that's not going to happen. You want to see a package pile driver by Owens, go get WWE 2K16. Bulldog on Owens by Jericho, springboard 450 by Styles on Jericho, top rope crossbody by Cesaro on Styles, uppercut train on Styles, Owens, and Jericho, boot by Jericho, spin by Cesaro, super kick and a pop-up powerbomb to Styles. Codebreaker to Owens, chop versus uppercut battle between Cesaro and Jericho, walls of Jericho on Cesaro, sharpshooter by Cesaro on Jericho, forearm by Styles on Cesaro, Pele by Styles on Owens, Codebreaker by Jericho on Styles, and a Styles clash gets the win, and AJ Styles is your #1 contender. AJ Styles, and I'm guessing this is for Payback, I'm not entirely sure, but the main event of Payback is going to be Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. So if you look back through tonight, yeah, nothing, a lot of big stuff happened, and at the same time, nothing happened. If you look down, I've just jotted down a couple of the highlights again. The Wyatts beat down on the League of Nations was a pretty good resurgence for them. The debut of Cruz, the debut of Corbin, my boy The Miz becoming the five-time Intercontinental Champion with his returning wife Maurice was cool. The Vaudevillains debuting on SmackDown and getting the Tyler Breeze treatment is a 50-50 draw. Enzo and Cass debuting and probably having a program with the Dudleys moving forward. Cesaro returning, a great main event overall, and AJ Styles being your winner make for a pretty damn good post-WrestleMania Raw. My voice is about to tap out. If you guys have any thoughts about WrestleMania TakeOver, the WrestleMania weekend in general, this Raw, put them down in the box below. I will at some point be doing an NXT review with Kristen, and if I can convince her, because I know she hated it, we're probably going to do a movie recap on Batman vs. Superman. But until then, I've been Spaz with no voice, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, and hopefully it won't sound like this, but until then, I'm tagging out. Bye.